Felicitous greetings, fellow Fanatics.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Fanatic, and today I'm going to be taking a look at Toy Story: Obstacles and Adventures, cooperative deck building game by The Op. Released in 1995, there's little doubt that Toy Story is what put Pixar Studios on the map. Although founded in 1979, it'd be a full 16 years later until they rose to fame. I could go into a long tangent on their history during that time, but I'm sure that channels more dedicated to film and animation have done that more justice than I could ever hope to. Regardless, Toy Story was the first feature-length film to be animated completely with CGI. Since then, there have been 4 theatrical releases, over half a dozen short films, and a TV series based off the Buzz Lightyear character. Why is that not on Disney Plus yet? I need the nostalgia.
In Obstacles and Adventures, 2 to 5 players will be working together to clear the game's hazards. The game is divided into 6 scenarios, 4 of which represent the numerical releases, and 2 representing the short films Toy Story of Terror and Toy Story That Time Forgot. The game starts out relatively simple, with each scenario introducing additional rules and cards. Keep in mind, this is not a legacy game. Nothing is permanently used up, and you can just as easily slip all the cards back into their individual scenario boxes if you ever want to reset your experience.
Keep in mind, I'm not going to be avoiding spoilers this time around. Why not, you ask? Because, quite frankly, the game makes no attempt to hide them either, so I see no point in pretending like I should. On the back of the box, you'll see the dice advertised, so you know those are going to be in one of the boxes. As soon as you open the box, before you even start your first game, you'll see a player board for Jessie, plus a divider for booster cards. On top of that, you'll quickly notice that the character cards say ability on them, even though they don't have any abilities listed on them. So you know those are going to be replaced by ones with abilities at some point in the game. So please forgive me if I take a more callous attitude than I normally do towards spoilers this time around.
To start the game, each player will choose a toy and take the matching character board, starter deck, character card, and a reference card. Each starter deck consists of 10 cards, 7 playful cards, and then 3 that are unique to that character. For your first game, this subtle difference is what will make your toy play differently from the others, though in later games you'll also have an ability unique to your toy, as well as being able to choose one of 10 booster cards to aid you. Woody focuses on friend cards in general, and Army Men in particular.
Sergeant, establish a recon post downstairs. Code red. You know what to do.
Yes, sir!
Buzz has a focus on item cards.
I could use one of those.
While Jessie focuses on traits. Then you have Bo Peep, who focuses on insight, which I'll get to in a little bit.
I know Andy's excited about Buzz, but you know, he'll always have a special place for you.
And finally, Rex focuses on healing.
How you doing, Rex?
Wait, Rex is the cleric of the group?
You'll set up the game by shuffling the Obstacles and Adventures deck, which acts as the game's store deck, and preparing the slots below. Any duplicates are stacked on top of one another, thus ensuring that players always have 6 different purchase options to choose from. You'll also shuffle the danger deck and set up the hazard deck according to the instructions for the current scenario. In the case of the first scenario, representing the original film, you'll make sure that the Escape from Sid card is on the bottom of the deck, then shuffle the remaining cards, place them on top, and reveal the top card. Take the adventure board for the current scenario and place its matching token on the start space. Finally, each player draws 5 cards and you're ready to begin. On your turn, you start by drawing 1 or more hazard cards, as indicated by the space that the token is currently on. These always involve nasty effects, sometimes causing toys to lose health or discard cards, or other times advancing the token along the track. After you resolve the appropriate number of danger cards, you then resolve any reoccurring effects on hazards. Some of these are passive effects which will persist until you overcome them, others happen at the start of each turn. If at any point during the game your toy drops to 0 health, they are shelved. When this happens, you have to discard half of the cards currently in your hand, plus any imagination and insight tokens you currently possess, and advance the token 1 space. After that, you reset your health to 10. For the rest of that turn, you're safe and can no longer lose health. If it's currently your turn, then you'll resume play as normal using the rest of the cards in your hand. Once dangers and hazards are resolved, you'll be able to play cards from your hand. There are 3 primary uses for cards, although some have further special effects.
Firstly, you have hearts, which are used to restore health. Balls represent imagination and are used to purchase cards from the store. Whenever you purchase a card, you immediately place it into your discard pile. Luxo represents insight and is used to overcome hazards. You may assign them to a hazard immediately, and if you meet the necessary number of insights, you discard the hazard and immediately claim its reward. In the case of Struggle with Jealousy here, we can see that each toy would gain 1 imagination and 1 health. Most of the cards are pretty straightforward, but there are some special ones worthy of extra mention. For example, the army men work best as a unit. When a player plays one, any other players may reveal army men in their hands, and when they do, they get a small immediate effect that can create some pretty fun combos. In later scenarios, you'll unlock cards that allow you to roll 1 of 4 dice. The dice have 4 symbols on them, allowing players to gain HP, Insight, Imagination, or draw a card. Every die has each symbol once, plus a single symbol that's on there 3 times. And of course, what deck builder would be complete without the ability to cull your deck of weaker cards as time goes on? The scrap mechanic will allow you to do just that. When you're unable or unwilling to play any more cards on your turn, you move all cards remaining in your hand and those that you played out into your discard pile and draw 5 new cards. If at any time you need to draw cards and have none left in your deck, you reshuffle your discard pile and place it back into your draw pile. If you defeat any hazards, you'll replace them if any remain in the hazard deck. If you purchase any cards, you'll draw until all slots in the lineup are filled, once again stacking any duplicates. After that, play passes to the next toy and the game continues until either all hazards are cleared and the players win, or the token advances to the final space on the board and the players are defeated. The individually boxed scenarios keep things fresh. Each one introduces new mechanics and gets progressively more difficult than the last. As of writing this review, I've managed to win the 4th scenario, and have played through the 5th one once and lost. If you play a game or two and are worried about the difficulty, hang in there, it gets a lot more challenging after the halfway point. Thematically, the game feels lacking. While you'll certainly see things that remind you of the various films, the game doesn't feel like it has a properly flowing narrative. You're constantly reusing hazards and dangers from earlier adventures, many of which only make sense in the scenario they're introduced in. Also, the distinction between a friend and an item is often unclear. Sometimes it's obvious, but other times it's just confusing. Why are RC and the Troikas not friends? They're clearly shown to be alive in the films. Components are a mixed bag. The board, tokens, and dice are all nice and solid. And the game even comes with an insert and dividers to help you keep everything organized between games. However, my biggest complaint about the game has to be the card quality. The cards are definitely thinner than I would like, and in a game where you're constantly reshuffling them, that's a significant mark against it. I'm not a component snob by any means, but this definitely affects the longevity of the game. Furthermore, while it's never something that I've personally been against, I know that many players will bemoan the fact that much of the artwork is simply reused images from the films. Aside from the player boards, adventure boards, and trait cards, it's pretty much all reused screen caps and renders taken directly from the films. All in all, Toy Story Obstacles and Adventures is a solid title. The game starts you off with easy scenarios that make it a great way to introduce new players to the genre, but the later scenarios are challenging enough that I think most gamers will be satisfied. The game never reaches Dragonfire levels of difficulty, but I don't think that every game needs to or even should reach that sort of peak. Wait a minute, why do I have 2 copies of Dragonfire? Each of the scenarios has enough variety that it makes it fun to keep coming back to them and advancing through them. And each toy plays differently enough that playing through the same scenario with a different toy in a different group can still be a lot of fun. And like most co-ops, you can play solo if you're willing to run multiple hands. On the downside, the theme is not very strong here. I'm aware that this game is a retheming of Harry Potter Hogwarts Battle, which I've never played myself. While I'm aware some things have been changed, there are many things in the game that simply clash thematically. It's a mechanically solid, but thematically lacking experience. And then there's the aforementioned point of the thin cards. It really is a shame that they have these nice pewter tokens and solid dice that are satisfying to drop, but then they skimmed out on the most important component of a deck builder, the cards. Despite its shortcomings, I did enjoy the game quite a bit, and I'm definitely going to be returning to it in the future. When my nephew is a little older, I'm hoping to make it the first deck builder he gets to play. In conclusion, I find Toy Story Obstacles and Adventures to be a solid title worthy of a 7.2 out of 10. If you're interested in purchasing Toy Story Obstacles and Adventures or learning more, links are included in the description. What about you? What do you think of Obstacles and Adventures? What was your favorite Toy Story film? If you have any questions, remarks, or opposing points of view, leave them in the comments down below, and please remember to like, share, subscribe, and ring that bell. Until next time, farewell, fellow fanatics. Thank you again for watching. I have plenty more to share with you if you're interested. You can click up here above my head to subscribe to my channel. You can click over here on my monitor to see the most recent video that I worked on. Or if you prefer, you can click up here to open this mysterious vault and see what video that the YouTube algorithm has picked just for you.